Dun dun dun. It's versus time, I guess. Hi, welcome back, everybody.
Hello, hello, hello. Something new. The rather cool Stuart found. It's as if there's like two grinding. What's that called? There's a thing. Ankle grind. When I was at university, I used to be people who hire who just like were in metal bikini style things. They would just like grind either on themselves or nearby, and it's like, look, I'm making sparks.
Angle grinders.
Yeah, that was yeah. So it's that, but with verses and neon.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi.
Yes.
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 Yes. We'll see how this goes. Just gonna decide randomly who wins these things. I guess have a discussion. I don't know. It'll be fun. Hopefully. But you guys get to pick the ships that we talk about.
Yes. Yeah, so we did obviously versus where we had a computer, a sentient Bretathon. What did you call? What's the language used for? Ship's computer, right? And they would manually move things in and out, and that was a whole thing. We ain't got that currently. And we like the idea of this, but the slides are really well. They're putting things in. And yeah, the idea is that, you suggest you create battles, and we'll debate and decide who wins, and just really kind of free flow, throw in a I guess in a sense a red and a blue field or whatever, and yeah. Got to put the thumbnail back on. Yeah, as you can see in the thumbnail, I grabbed a ship recently and ordered ages ago, just to kind of see the classic Sovereign and the D7. Sure. So it can be random things. I mean, helps if there's canon behind it, of course.
Yes. And yes, Dan just Star Trek today.
Yeah, and we're going at $3 just to be, have us have these debates. And some might take a while, some might not. So yeah, which also means if you see someone putting like a Sovereign, and you can also repeat things in, nothing's a one use, right? So if you want to see someone as Defiant, how we would debate, etc., throw it in, and the next one on the list will be the verses. So if you see someone put a Prometheus and I want to put a jumper there, etc. So I'll start showing and see you in a minute.
Yes. All right, so there you go. Those are the rules, guys, and it should be fun. Hopefully. Hold on, I just need to cough. All right, so make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, and you click the notification bell icon to all so you don't miss any content from us, future, edited, or live-wise. Yes. All of the things. Yeah. So, yes. Super chat in with your ships that you want to talk about. And we will definitely have discussions and have a good time. Just gonna sit around, hang out, and have a good time with you guys. So by all means, participate if you can, if you're able to. Appreciate it. Don't forget there is a join button down there on YouTube. You can join us here on the YouTube channel, which is a monthly way to support us, or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. That is another great way to support us monthly, and we really appreciate that. So if you can, please do. But yes. All right. And yeah, check out the links down below. There are links to the Teespring and the TeePublic store. Get yourself some cool Trekyards merch or otherwise. And it should be a fun time. So, yes. All right. Cool. Yeah. Make sure you hit the like button. 23 of you here, 14 likes. Let's get those likes up, guys. You simulating this or just thumbnail and chat? Well, it's not just going to be the thumbnail. We'll have pictures of the ships, but there's no real way to simulate. Unfortunately, it'll just be a discussion and we'll see. Use canon information to see what comes about. But yes.
I'm back.
Yay.
Yes.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, submit a ship, and let's see.
Well,
Who
we got
says
a Area 51 $3.
Mm-hmm.
It says Dominion War Galaxy class versus a Sovereign class.
We only get one ship because it's meant to be you all sort of fire amongst yourselves. We'll do that as a first one. But yeah, it's per ship. Otherwise it'll be more than 3 because then per battle, isn't it? So it's like Venture versus Sovereign.
Venture.
That one shot of it with stuff on the nacelles.
Bridge commander with expansion has tons of ships. It does, yes, Mark. Yeah, we can't really simulate the battles, unfortunately. I mean, that would be so cool to be able to do that kind of show, but...
Like, we have ideas too, but the fact is, it is possible, but you can only see one of our screens and we couldn't be talking.
Yeah.
Not in the same way. So it'd be very... like, if you had a third person who could stream both of our streams, then you're looking at really, a little bit complicated, unless it was us versus the computer, which is, again, it's possible. We have discussed this. This is something kind of... Yeah, start us off, right? See what the interest is. So you got a Sovereign versus a Venture, which of course has as a Galaxy class with added all good things nacelles. As far as maybe a crappy bridge if you want to go that far. All right, what do you think? And again, guys, submit because this is going to be you guys' suggestions. Too.
Well, I really think that the Sovereign would win because the Sovereign's more geared for this kind of... It was created to do these kind of battles, whereas the Galaxy class was a glass cannon a little bit. They kind of blew up when you get a coolant leak. So, I mean, yes, they are modified to be a little tougher, but... Yeah, I would still probably put my money on the Sovereign class just for maneuverability, and I would just assume that a Sovereign could probably run circles around the Dominion Galaxy class style ship.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unlike the Sovereign, which was designed to fight the Borg, this would have been refitted to fight the Dominion, possibly. Like, because it's a lot newer. Assuming that's how we're framing it, right? It's a Dominion War version of the Venture. So if they said, right, we've got these Galaxy classes, we know the weaknesses, how do we improve them to fight those weaknesses? I'm assuming they're going to give them the best shields, the best update torpedoes. You could probably justify giving quantum dot photons, right? Like, conceptually, if they're saying, let's turn the Galaxy into a gunboat, and then new phases. So it should match the Galaxy in terms of firepower, assuming quantums. I think that's a fair thing they could do. Then it's a case of maneuverability versus power. And, I mean, it's a bigger ship. You make a second warp core. I mean, I'm saying, if you just upped the power ability, because I would assume they're more easy to mess with than a Sovereign, because I understand them better. So I would, yeah. But maneuverability is hugely important. And the Sovereign would win that hands down.
Yeah.
Who has better firing arcs, do you think? Because the D's pretty well covered.
Oh, they both are very well covered, I think. That's a good question. I think they'd both be pretty equally matched as far as firing arcs go.
Yeah.
Can't see any real advantage going to either one.
Yeah, I feel like the big difference for me would be the maneuverability. If the E can dodge some photons, where the Galaxy can't, it doesn't matter how powerful the phases are, that's sort of the decider. So yeah, I'd say Sovereign, but I think it'd be closer than you think for that version, just because of the upgrades. Because they don't want it to be, you'd think, comparable to a Sovereign, at least in raw firepower. Everything else dependent, but yeah. Is it a bit too far to say maybe they quantumed it? Or was that something you'd
No,
order?
I would say that they would have done that. Yeah.
Shouldn't be that difficult, really.
Yeah.
Especially if you're able to gut it, you know. Yeah.
Trekyard is asking ChatGPT who would win. Just entered it into ChatGPT. Gives a full breakdown of tactics and firepower, etc. ChatGPT says the Sovereign would win.
I mean, sure, put in $2. I'll ask as well. If you want to add that to the addendum, sure, yeah, happy to add that in.
Well, the Angry Pirate throws in £10. Says the Defiant versus the Kavort, the Bloodwind crew. So we got a drunken crew. We got to take that into consideration on the Klingon ship. So, okay. One's got a blade of hull armor. One's got a cloak. I mean, they both have cloaks, so it's the kind of cancels each other out, I guess. But one's designed to defeat the Borg. Pulse weapons, very maneuverable. The covert probably not as maneuverable because it's not a Burrell. It's not small and kind of wiry. It's another good matchup, I will say that. Firepower wise, though, I think the Defiant would probably come out on top. And with the ablative hull armor, I think that's a little bit of extra bonus as far as defensive capabilities go. So, yeah, I think the Defiant is probably the one that's going to edge out this one slightly.
Yeah, it's tricky because you would assume the Kavort is going to be... Like, what's its purpose in the fleet, right? It's contemporary to a Vulture and late-stage Katinga. So is it comparable to a Katinga in terms of firepower, just more maneuverable? Or is it more powerful? Is it the updated, like, that Starship bigger? Because you know what I mean, like, where is its firepower to size? Because I don't think it's Vulture level, but that's obviously battleship level.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's Vulture level.
What's your gut though compared to like a Katinga of the same era? Like, would this be if you face this versus that, you'd be more scared of this or more scared of Katinga? Like at DS9, same level.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah. They both do very different things, but both.
I think they'd be very comparable. But I think I would still give the Katinga the edge, personally. I just think construction-wise, it might be a little bit more inclined to, or more designed to take hits than.
Yeah. But then the upscale of a Katinga is kind of horrific. Like how much more hull there is. Like I'm assuming the logic of the Kavort, is that the disruptors are upscaled and mega powerful because there ain't no disruptor cannons on the Katinga, right? Like visible, so everything's internalized. If these are the same weapons but bigger, those are going to be very meaty disruptors, right? Logically, so it's going to have a lot of offensive ability and have some maneuverability. Defiant, of course, is a powerhouse, but it's not designed to take lots of hits, like lots, but not like lots. It's not meant to be hit. If it is hit, a blade of hull armor does it, but it's meant to be dodging, weaving, shooting.
Yeah.
I assume Kavort can take more damage, but the Defiant can give more damage with quantum. So it's like,
Yes. No, I think the Defiant can take some hits. It takes some damage. So. But
also the armor like cracks once the shield's down. So it's like there's only a finite number of hits it can take with shields, whereas a normal ship has there's more layers to it, even though it's hyper advanced. So I think Defiant would certainly win, but I'm wondering how powerful, if the Kavort got a few proper disruptor hits on it, would be. Like how much physical oomph do they have to cause damage? Because what's the purpose of Kavort, right? It's got to have some meatiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my money's still on the Defiant.
Yeah, I'd say so.
This one for sure, but.
Dave, F51 says, I'm sure the Defiant fought some Kavorts in Way of the Warrior. I'm not sure. Well, the Defiant wasn't in Way of the Warrior. That was DS9. And DS9 blew up everybody. But you can't take a battle for serious because one torpedo threw a Katinga and it blew it up. So it's not gonna. But yeah, I said everyone's putting $6 for 2 ships, and then 10. I'll include ChatGPT. I think that's fair. The full whammy. So I did ask it. Should I let you know the real results?
Sure.
So we gave our arguments. The Klingon Kavort class bird of prey versus the Defiant. Contextual overview. Kavort, often depicted as a larger, beefier cousin of the Brel. Estimated length 250 to 350 meters. Heavily armed for its size with disruptors and torpedoes. Can cloak. It was a Defiant, purpose-built warship. About 170 meters. Hey, they got it right. A blade of hull armor. Designed to fight and survive Borg and Dominion threats. Cloaking device, limited use. Battle breakdown. Firepower advantage Defiant, because it has pulse phases, quantum torpedoes. Maneuverability, advantage Defiant. Designed like a space tank fighter hybrid. Durability, Defiant, a blade of hull armor, tough little brute. Size and crew, which is not really a metric. Kavort, bigger, more troops, better for boarding. Stealth, even, both have cloak. Yeah, but Defiant have more advanced, you'd think. Tactical AI, Defiant Cisco and stuffy tactics. Intimidation, Kavort, Klingon raw plus size. Verdict: the Defiant wins, but it's not a walk in the park. In a head-to-head confrontation, the Defiant's superior weapons and agility that outmatch and outgun the Kavort despite being smaller. If the Kavort gets the jump, ambush, and/or cloak maneuver, it can do real damage real fast. In a fleet or boarding action, the Kavort might have the edge due to sheer size and troop numbers, but in a one-on-one, the Defiant was built to take on threats far beyond what the Kavort was designed for. Oh. That's what we said, but more AI.
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay.
So Dan, which one do you want? Xindi Weapon or Armored Voyager? Because there you go. Armored Voyager versus a Galore. Oh no, I what was it? Reliant. Okay, well Dan's putting Armored Voyager, so someone wants to fight his Armored Voyager. Guys, pick against Armored Voyager because that's going to be a hell of a one. But we are angry pirates, and I will find some images.
Angry pirate, 10 pounds. Galore class versus Reliant class. You mean Miranda class?
I think he does. That's an odd pairing.
Wow. Yeah. That'll be a fun discussion.
Yeah. I assume we'd want to give them sort of parity of era, to be fair.
Sure.
Assuming they're in the same era, of course. Okay. Alright, go for it.
Galore would win. I mean, it's easy. The Miranda is the Miranda. It's the red shirt of the fleet. It'll die in glorious epicness, but it'll still die. It'll look great, though, doing it. So yeah. Plus the Galore is pretty powerful. It's like one of the flagships, or the don't even know what the word I'm looking for here is, one of the staples of the Cardassian military fleet. So it's kind of the standard battleship for them. So very, very powered. The Miranda, even up powered to be next generation era, is still not going to be a match for the Galore, I don't think. Plus it's the Miranda, it's going to get destroyed. So,
but as we said in already some previous battles, I say the Miranda's far more movable, given its DS9 zippiness. Fair to say?
Sure.
I mean, Galores tend to sort of just be flat, give or take. And I feel like, have we ever even seen them fire aft weapons? Like, I'm pretty sure that battle when they, like, that one that you guys threw in, that Maquis battle with, like, all the fighters, it did shoot, like, you were shooting everything everywhere. I think that was a... But, like, I always associate it firing forward, so if the Miranda can stay away from its main weapon, that's an edge, kind of like versus Klingons, you know? So if it can keep skirting and firing its phases and do some damage, you know, it's not necessarily a one-hit kill if they're both doing maneuvers.
Yes, but if you had to put money on it, which one would you pick?
Well, that's not fair because I want to win money. Yeah, no, the Galore obviously outmatches in terms of firepower, but I do think a good captain in the Miranda could attrition it more than the Galore captain would think.
Probably, yes.
But I mean, a lot of the battles we associate in, say, TNG very much like, alright, let's fight. Like, it's just firepower over all else. But if you're adding tactics and maneuverability, there's a bit more to it. But yeah, so in the phase, what's it called? The phase lance? No, the spiral wave beam. Cardassian.
Yeah, spiral wave sounds familiar.
That.
Yes.
I mean, I would assume that's hit. Would be real mean, on a Miranda's shields in any era.
Yes.
Just a. But you know, I mean, they could take out what, 30% shields. And if you're a betting man, you know, just keep firing those torpedoes, Lieutenant. Forward, forward, forward. You know, do an Nero, fire everything.
Spiral wave disruptor.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, well then flip that on its head. 2 Mirandas.
There you go. Now you might have a chance.
3 Mirandas.
I think you're good to go.
Okay.
You'd be winning that one. Personally, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Well, yeah.
I think 3 would be a pretty substantial number. Okay, very nice. And because you put in 10, I'll ask the chat GBT. But Dan has put forward as next Armored Voyager. So who wants to submit what? I'll go. What happened? Yeah. Now, Armored Voyager is going to be a menace against almost anybody, right?
Sure.
So who can whatever is Armored Voyager? Okay, so Nebula class Reliant. Let's see. Okay, verdict. Galore class wins, but with conditions. Oh, okay. Firepower Galore, heavier main weapon. Shielding Galore, newer, tougher design. Maneuverability, slight edge to Miranda. Tech level Galore, by a generation or more. Yeah. Crew quantity depends. Versatility Miranda. Verdict Galore wins with some conditions. Stan and Miranda. Okay, Stan and Miranda, so the original version, likely outclassed. The Galore is designed to be a warship, while Miranda's built for multi-purpose. Refit Miranda, as in DS9. Capable fight. If captained by someone experienced and with upgraded systems, it would cripple or destroy a Galore in a tactical ambush or close-range slugfest, but still an uphill battle. But Galore has the edge in raw strength, armor, and weapons. Okay. Few provisos there. Ooh.
Mark Lawrence puts in $3. A single universe class versus 5 Constitution 3s. No, we're not doing that. But we will use a single universe class against the Armored Voyager.
It's $3 a ship, guys. Oh, more for duo. That's interesting. It still amazes me that people who love the J or hate the J, and there's like no in between. No one's like, yeah.
Well.
Alright, there you go. Yeah. Is a. Let me be. There you go. Size wise, there you go. Alright. What do you think?
Well, we're not quite 100% sure what each one of these can do necessarily. Armored Voyager, you would assume, is heavily armored. Could take a pounding. Enterprise J, being from the future, probably has some pretty dynamic and advanced weapons. And lots of them. Yeah, maneuverability-wise, you have to give it to the Voyager, obviously. Fighting a giant city in space, essentially, so should be good. Um, just trying to think stats-wise what I know about each of these ships, which isn't a whole lot.
Well, are we taking in? And I know you're not going to ask it just for a bit of internal continuity. Are we going to take it that, as Doug thinks, there is no weapons on the J? It's a fully peace ship, etc., etc.
No, that's just stupid.
Excellent. Just gonna sidestep that. Yeah. I guess the question is, the J is what, the 2500s, 2600s.
Something like that, yeah, 26, I think.
So it's actually more advanced than the armor, actually, which is only 30 years of future. So actually, so I was going to say, for some reason I was visualizing the armor was from the 29th century, because Voyager's 29th vibing. So I mean, possibly there's just some like weapon that can destabilize the photonic energy of the armor, right? Because it's a very clever thing. So it might actually be super one-sided to the nth degree, actually. You know?
Yeah. That's a tough one. This is a tough one. So
I guess the question is how is the J compared to a Borg cube? Because this thing could take on 4 Borg cubes firing to disable, and it was down like 10%. So how powerful is J compared to a Borg cube? If it like totally wipes a Borg cube, then the Voyager's not doing so handy. But then also the Trekyardians? No, what's the multiphasic torpedoes? Whatever they brought as well. Those things, one hit at a Borg cube, right? I felt those would still be effective. Although I imagine shooting from the nacelles is a bit of a try and test maneuver with the J or the pylons. Everyone fire for the pylons. They're the weak point. It's like,
but they're still pretty big, as we've talked about, so it's not even a thing.
That would be funny though to like shoot, like just how long would it take for it to fly over. That's the whole video. So I think the J would win, just because of the advancement, and you guys, Dan, that's a hard one to beat, and Mark found a winner, I think. Nice. I like it. Okay.
The Angry Pirate, 10 pounds. Okay. Strange New Worlds Enterprise versus the Connie Refit.
Having fun at Stuart's expense now.
Wow. Well, again, it's an easy answer. But 32 people here, 27 likes. Hit the like button, guys. Get those likes up. Valians, participate. Let us know what ships you want us to talk about.
Yeah, there's some good pairings so far. Now, in fairness, this is the wartime refit Connie versus the peacetime tech refit Connie. Right?
Well, the refit is gonna win. Easy. Done. Because the other one doesn't exist in this universe. So.
But supposed to, it did. What would you say?
But it doesn't, though. It doesn't, though. I mean, well, the Strange New Worlds Enterprise has dots, which can go out and repair everything as the battle's happening. Real time, which gives it the upper hand and the advantage. And it can actually,
It does, doesn't it? I always forget. Everyone's forgotten about them.
Repair on the fly.
God.
The poor refit. I mean, you got, midshipman Peter Pressman down there. He's got to climb out on the hull and like weld shit, and So yeah, unfortunately, Strange New Worlds might take it. It's rough.
Oh man, you just logicked it.
Yeah.
Shit.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh.
Weapons-wise, though, I think they're pretty evenly matched. Let's be honest.
You dick. But also great pairing that was such a revelation. And also you consider, the epicness of the refit firing weapons. 1 torpedo, one torpedo, and then a few little phasers. Strange New Worlds. And everything else. So the fire rate was a little bit different. Dots, yeah. And do not forget, of course, that doesn't matter how many times they fire torpedoes at that one bulkhead. Those behind the bulkhead will be fine on the Strange Worlds Enterprise.
Yes, that's true. That's one of those indestructible bulkheads.
Yep.
Wow.
Unbeat titanium. Yes. God, yeah. And obviously it is like twice the size, which is going to do something logically. Power level or something. And when the engine room is like 12 times the size, with like, you know what I mean? So, okay, guys, who do you think? Throw in right now, because this is actually kind of a difficult one. Throw in who you think. At the very least, shields will be better on the refit, just because tech always, like, shields always improve over time, right? That's going to be right?
Sure.
It should be faster, same logic, new nacelles. So those two things it wins no matter what. Are there more weapon emplacements on the...
No, I don't think so. I think they're pretty evenly matched as far as that goes.
Yeah. Have we seen either fire aft torpedoes?
No.
Which of course is ironic because the Defiant could, from Into Darkly, from a thing that's not a torpedo launcher, guys. But you're asking us to shoot a thing that. Oh. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, you know what? I'm super torn, and as you put in tennis, do this to the ChatGPT as well, because that is going to be. Oh goodness.
Yeah. Trying something. Just bear with me.
Good plan. Huh. ChatGPT almost a chef's kiss matchup.
Is it though?
Oh, okay. And again, guys, put in the next round. We'll get to them after I read this because they're $10. So the motion picture era, top of the line, completely overhauled from TOS, advanced warp drive, improved phasers and foam torpedoes, about 305 meters long, crew 430. Cool. Strange Worlds Enterprise, a pre-TOS ship, estimated to be 442 meters long. Per Strange Worlds production design. Advanced internal tech by visual standards, holograms, fast turbolifts, shields, phasers, torpedoes. On paper, slightly less advanced than the TMP Refit era, but Strange Worlds is a modern show with updated tech visuals making direct competition weird.
Yes, indeed, weird.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. This guy's got some personality, this guy. I salute you, ChatGPT, for this one. Key points. Firepower. Enterprise Refit. Winner. Upgraded phasers. Torpedo. Phaser banks. Range and more punch. Defensive. Winner. Enterprise Refit. Better shields and hull after the overall refit. Technology. Winner. Enterprise Refit. Canonically, it's the future of Strange Worlds by 10 years. Maneuverability. Stranger Worlds winner. Slightly sleeker, probably more agile. In fairness, yeah, we sort of do some weird swoops. Crew readiness, draw. Pike's crew is sharp, but so is Kirk's elite command staff. And they added one more star to try and get a winner. Style and swagger. Let's be honest, Enterprise Refit wins a landslide there. This is the AI is using the internet there as the fact that it said that and not me. Verdict, Refit wins. In universe, it's the same ship, just upgraded. So by time and logic, the Refit is literally a better version of the Strange World Enterprise. It's tougher, stronger, faster, transport aside, and better equipped for high threat missions. Pike's ship is no slouch, but basically the beta version of what Kirk ends up with in TMP.
Okay, yeah, I like it.
I like it. That's a good shout, guys. That was a good shout. Nice. All right. Good idea, guys. What we got next?
Matt Yarrington, $6. The Decure versus the NX-01 Refit.
That's an interesting one. What do you think?
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Well, we got a beefed up NX-01.
Hey, Wesley.
More advanced warp systems, better weapons, shielding systems instead of just a hull armor. Against the Vulcans, who are more advanced, generally speaking. But, you know, humans learn fast, and I think they would advance pretty quickly as far as their tech goes. So, honestly, I'd probably give the edge to the NX-01 just because, you know, humans have a little bit of a more illogical way of fighting and would just be kind of down and scrappy, whereas the Vulcans might be a little bit too logical in their tactics and therefore not actually come out on top in a situation like this. I think ships match-wise, I mean, I don't even know what the Decure has as far as weapon systems go.
Green beams.
Green.
Yes. Hey, Dave and Laura. Dave.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say probably the NX-01 Refit would be the winner in this one, just because of the scrappy attitude of humans, or think outside the box mentality.
That's a really fair shout, actually. But it's. I feel like the Vulcans, while more advanced, are stagnant in their tech.
Yeah, somewhat.
So, like, if they started Enterprise at like an 8 for the era, NX is like a 4. Like, you'd think the chasm would be that serious. With Andorians being like a 7.3, you know, like near but not quite. The Refit is, you would think, is going to be the first ship where, because if I recall correctly, in the NX, when they built the NX-01, the context was the Vulcans were always pushing us back, like not allowing us to progress. But then once we went out and did stuff, they also had their civil war where they couldn't be as active with us anyway. So the chance of the Refit having accidentally seen Vulcan things, and we've taken advice from dissecting them sometimes, like that's more likely going to be versus the NX-01, you know, like a little bit, like learn lessons. And, you know, all the Xindi stuff and all the Romulan stuff, like all these experiences are going to develop the tech in a jump, at least to the edge of where it could be. And what else can Second Hull really do? Not a ton, but like phasers, shields, like I said. I would think shield is not even a fair fight. The Decure would blow out the water for shield power because it's fully integrated. The emitters are stronger. The power systems are better. And it's just, you know, a tried and tested for a long time. So it's a case of weapons. Does the NX-01... is Earth going to develop better weapons in the same amount of time to the Vulcans? That would be more the question.
I think the advancement of weapons, even in the amount of time we saw, was pretty substantial.
Yeah.
And then with the Tellarites and Andorians on board...
Yeah, true.
I can see the advancements jumping pretty quickly. So... But yeah, you're right. Vulcans would be very stagnant once, you know, they got something that works. They're not going to necessarily go out of their way to advance it if they don't need to.
And they're not looking for combat, so...
Yeah.
You know. Maneuverability, I mean, obviously, the Refit has it, just by sort of default, because Decure is a very slow chug ship. But then has the Decure got enough beam power just to have just a few constant blasts, and each one taking shield power down and down and down, and then I guess have we in that one jump gonna take on giants? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the other question is, even if we did, is that not because the Vulcans are stagnant? If they then found their ship was defeated by NX, could they not update it in one go that beats the NX Refit? Like, they surely understand everything better to just pump everything up by one level. It's like, oh, we win now. you know, like a launch version, fine, but like any improvement, I'd think the Vulcans would trash Federation or Starfleet.
Well, yeah. Yeah,
That's a hard one.
it is a hard one. I would still put my money on the NX though, for various reasons.
Yeah, I think I would give it just. I think I'd give it just because I think they would like target distinct locations and cause some damage early on, and then like just.
Mm-hmm.
Now it wasn't put in for, but I don't want to ChatGPT said. Decure across the board.
Oh, really?
In a straight up firefight, Decure overwhelms the NX Refit with superior shields, range, and damage output. But the NX Refit could punch up hard with clever tactics, stealth, or a surprise torpedo barrage. Oh wow, yeah. The Decure is 3 times ish as long as the NX Refit. I mean, it's a very long ship though.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I'd say NX Refit though, very possibly. And you know, if it was like this, the Gen 1.1, like after they start the Romulan War, oh no, we're not quite doing as well. One more upgrade. You know what I mean? Like a mid-gen refit. You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right. Love it.
Cool. All right. The Angry Pirate, 10 pounds. Borg Sphere versus Negvar class. Ooh.
That is a hell of a question. I'm going to ask it first. Who do you guys think is going to win? So you can put some answers in the chat while Stuart debates, and I'll put a poll as well.
Wow. You got Klingon tenacity versus Borg firepower, and oh man, that's a tough call. The edge would probably for me go to the Borg just because it's the Borg. And if they're adapting to weapons fire and stuff, I don't think the Negvar would last super long. However, the couple of punches that the Negvar could get in would be quite substantial. Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. That's a very good matchup.
So we're literally taking the tank, the tankiest of tank of the Klingon fleet, and just a bog standard, in a nice way, bog standard Borg Sphere, which is not the lowest grade, but obviously more skews. I mean, yeah, if you add adapting into the mix, it's probably going to do quite well. But then, do they adapt normally? As in, the like in First Contact, they're not adapting to the photon torpedoes, surely. Like they are causing damage. You know what I mean? Like, how does that work in that respect? Because otherwise, you'd think Federation wouldn't last 5 seconds because they would protect against the weapons. Boom, adapt. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, because otherwise each ship would get 1 or 2 volleys, and then instantly Defiant pulse cannons would do 0 damage. But clearly they were still doing some damage, just not a lot.
Because they're modulating frequencies.
Well, exactly. So if Klingons are doing that, I assume they would. Then it's a case of true firepower versus firepower. I feel like the cannons on Negvar are real beefy. I feel like they would do a real... Like, you'd think in terms of sustained blast, it would absolutely smash a Galaxy class's firepower for those phases. And that ripped through the edge of a Borg cube. So if this thing is firing like double or triple barrels of its beam, whatever, I think it would do a lot of damage very quickly.
Yeah, I don't disagree. However, with the sphere being the way it is, is, and the redundancy systems of the
Yep.
Borg, like powering through it with weapons fire,
Yep.
isn't necessarily going to cause the critical
Yep.
amount of damage you might expect or need, right? So
Oh gosh, what was the number in Best of Both Worlds? Like,
they could still operate with like 80% of their ship destroyed or something.
It was something in the almost all.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got to logic the same for a sphere. Let's say 70% to be generous to the Klingons. And I would assume a sphere in particular would have weapons everywhere, because it's a sphere, be all equidistant. So as long as you've got any number of weapons to keep firing. Oh man, I guess my gut would be the Negvar would do a lot of damage.
A lot of initial damage.
But the Borg would attrition them to death. But it'd be a. I guess if you had two ships, it'd be all the difference you need. Because it was all combined fire. But if you had two but if you had two ships to kind of balance out the hits.
Yeah.
That's real close though. That's a really, really good one. Yeah, I gotta ask the AI because that's interesting.
Yeah, you do. And Dave and Laura, Area 51 says, yeah, for a Borg ship, you gotta go TKO.
What does that mean?
Total knockout.
Okay, head-to-head showdown. Yeah. Head-to-head showdown. Firepower. Winner. Borg sphere. More destructive, more precise, which is fair. Includes track beam and cutting beam. Also very fair. Defense. Borg sphere. Adaptive shielding. Regenerative armor. Mobility. Borg sphere. Transport drive. No impulse limitation. Interesting. I guess it doesn't matter G-force because they're drones. Crew efficiency. Borg sphere. Hive mind. Fair. Tactical bravery. Negvar. Cool factor. Honestly, is a draw. Tactical breakdown. Negvar has brute strength. It's a battleship meant to punch holes in enemy fleets with some of those powerful Klingon weapons ever fielded. The Borg sphere is a terrifying technological monster. It will adapt. It can disable the Negvar shields. It can assimilate the crew mid-battle. Didn't think of that. Unless the Negvar gets a kill shot in the first few minutes, it's likely doomed once the sphere figures out the shield harmonics to adapt. Klingons don't give up, but tech doesn't care about honor. Gosh, this guy's eloquent. What was the thing they always said at the end of our thing we did last year, of the end of a story? It looks off into the stars or some shit?
Yeah. It's got better.
Verdict. Borg sphere wins, but Negvar makes it bleed.
Yeah.
In a one-on-one, the sphere is simply more advanced, more adaptable, has weapons that Klingons can't even counter. But if the Negvar is supported by a fleet, or as a persistent, or as preparatory intel, it can absolutely inflict massive damage or even pull off a win, especially if Martok is commanding and there is an opening for some Batleth boarding glory. Pretty much what we said. I feel vindicated.
All right.
Good shout, guys.
Next up, we've got the Angry Pirates.
Kicking us.
NX-01 versus Runabout Refit.
And it's funny, if you Google Runabout Refit, all you get is our video on it, because we're the only ones that talked about it.
The Yellowstone class?
No, this is a Load X one. That I realised was very, very different. I did renders and it's like, shit, this is a oh, I know. I realised it was actually pretty darn different. Okay, I'll let you resize that. And then here's our thumbnail. Because, yeah, this is the Runabout Refit with the different cockpit arrangement. The added stuff in the wings. And some other small details. Which, you know, given its time and place in the era. Yeah, Runabout Refit. And that is a good question of, you know, a capital ship of one era versus a Runabout. Good question.
Yeah, because this is era-appropriate technology that we're talking about now, and advancements. Interesting. Our thing's not centered on the...
No, I know. I don't know why I did that.
You made it broken.
All right. So your thoughts? Because yeah, how much does tech mean in this future?
Ooh, Well, the runabouts have micro torpedoes, I do believe. So I mean that's a thing. The yield's probably higher than even just the regular torpedo of the NX-01. So maneuverability wise, got to give it to the runabout easily. More advanced impulse systems as well as smaller ship. Just functionality wise, I think that the runabout would have a lot more going on. Even transporter range, its transporters are probably way better than the NX-01. Yeah, everything about this just says that the runabout would win. Yeah, I mean the NX-01's got some size on it, but it doesn't really mean much in the grand scheme of things when it comes to a battle. If anything, it'd be a detriment because of the maneuverability. I just can't see the NX-01 like sliding around corners very quick, chasing a runabout. It'd be kind of comical to see, actually. Yeah, better targeting systems, better everything on the runabout. Like, there's no contest. It's gonna be the runabout that's gonna come out on top. Which is odd because it's a little shuttle against the ship, but
yeah,
technology is important.
And 48 of you watching, hello. This is ship versus. So submit your any ship in Trek, $3 per ship. Put one in, someone else put another one, or 6 to do full, or 10, and we'll do a ChatGPT reaction. That is fun for sure. Oh, and Dan says, can't fire micro torpedoes without the roll bar. So the roll bar is the full torpedoes.
Yes.
But it would have some micro as well. That's the extra armed tactical version.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair, the Intimate Darkly is the best case, best example of a little bit of more advanced, and it cuts through people like tissue paper. Because that Defiant was one-hitting Andorian and Vulcan ships through shields in one hit. Like, yep, disabled, up, disabled, up, disabled. Mm-hmm. And that's, 80 years of difference?
Yeah.
I mean, and those are also shielded. Those aren't NX. Those are NX era more advanced ships. So unfortunately, I think the runabout Refit would warp in, would be hit by photon torpedoes, take it all, and then just shoot like one phase beam on each pylon, rip straight through them. The NX is like, we've lost both warp. It's like, what? What happened? It just blew through it. And then it feedbacks into the warp core. The warp core turns off, and there's like an hour listing. And the runabout guy's like, how long will that take? 7.6 seconds. Great. But you could do that clinically, right?
Yeah.
But would you toy with the NX if you're the runabout? Would you be a dick and just like, oh wow, we're totally having an issue. Shields at 1.3% power. Just be a dick.
And just gonna hold them there while you pummel us.
Oh god. Because I would assume, I mean, phase cannons would be absolutely pointless against it. Torpedoes, right? Yeah. But I mean, phases are going to do absolutely nothing.
Yep. It's not much of a contest, this one. Sorry.
No, eras make a big difference. Even something between like the Enterprise C and B, it's a generational leap, right? I would still envision that's quite a significant difference in firepower, because it's not just like shields. Like, even if torpedoes don't iterate, the fact that you're generation leaping a shields and a phaser, those two combined make everything more difficult if you're fighting at a lower.
Yeah.
It's like you expect the Enterprise D to just cripple the Excelsior, Enterprise B. Right? Wouldn't be that difficult.
Uh-huh.
What do you guys think? Do you guys agree?
Of course they do.
And yeah, Devereaux, it could definitely outwarp the NX in like 20% warp power.
Yeah.
Also considering the warp core is like this big, and the X is an entire room.
Yep.
Oh, how tech improves. Cool. Good shout. Alright, who have we got next?
We got the Angry Pirate again with
Kicking
5.
bottom.
Enterprise B on a Monday versus a Bajoran solar ship.
Finally Wednesday.
On a Monday, it's got nothing.
True. So basically, from Generations is what you're saying. Okay, fine. From Generations versus the top of the line Bajoran solar sailor. Top of the yes.
Well, I'm sure that the Enterprise B still has phasers, even though it's not Tuesday yet. Let's just assume no power systems at all, or no weapon systems at all. The Enterprise B would still trounce the Solar Sailor, because the Solar Sailor is pretty fragile, let's be honest. Also no weapons, not designed for that kind of thing. Working shield emitters, we can assume, on the Enterprise B. I mean, once Tuesday hits, this is all just...
Yeah, you wouldn't leave space dock without shields. That's not even negotiable, right? Just to have warp, etc. Right? So that's. It was surviving, it was surviving.
All I'd have to do is fly into the Solar Sailor, and the explosion would ensue, and the Enterprise B would just be like, fine, just shake that off.
See, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if you're going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it just bump it slightly. Kind of all you need to do, really.
Yep.
But this was one of my very first verses, and I had to solar sail you against something. Wasn't that? Or was that
No,
it was Phoenix.
Yeah.
Other equally silly ship. I don't even think the Solar Sailor has any form of shields. It has a structural electric field, if I recall, like something ultra basic.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the sails can clog up the brassards and deflector grills and feedback pulse. You imagine it zooming by and then just jettisons a thing and hits the...
And if this starship was designed as stupidly as some of the other ones we've seen throughout Star Trek history the last few years, you just released one of the sails and have it cover the window and the bridge, and then they couldn't see anything. Because that's how that works. You don't have sensors that show you things on a view screen. It's just a fucking window.
And then an ensign will say, "If only they had carpet to protect us against this."
No carpet for you.
No carpet. But even if it wasn't in the Generations approach, as in all they had, you could absolutely deflect a pulse, some sort of deflector to like burn the metal. The fabric of the solar sail. Like there's something you could do with that would. But you know what? I think you got a good discussion out of a very silly approach. But I liked it.
I would hope so. Yeah.
But I do like the idea you had of having it be Generations version, so I had nothing. That's actually a nice shout. That was an interesting way. Yeah. Okay. Very cool.
All right. Next up.
Oh, do I dare ChatGPT that?
Yeah, go for it. Because Dave and Laura just throw in $2 and say the Klingons never disappoint, and it's true. Yes. Bum, bum, bum. 43 people here, which is great. 43 likes, also great. But if you haven't hit like yet, please hit like. Let's get those likes up to 50 if we can.
Do it.
Yes, and go vote on the poll as well. We have 28 votes currently. And it's asking about this new format, whether you enjoy this or not. And I think this is something we should probably carry forward because it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, as ever, we love you guys' suggestions. It helps us go in cold, but in a good way, you know. Boy, this guy can't be written by a human, because that is a hell of a first sentence after I ask the question. This is a quote, okay? Oh my god, I love this question. This is a gloriously ridiculous scenario, like pitting a hot air balloon against a car with no wheels or engine, and asking who gets the grocery store first. Let's dive in. This guy is funny. It's not even a person. Solar Sailor gives a whole load of things. Weapons, literally none.
Yep.
Made of wood, cloth, bejeweled ingenuity and optimism. Enterprise B. Skeleton crew. Weapons not installed yet. Shields offline. Engines working but lots of glitches. Systems bare bones. Fighting ability, like bringing a brand new tank to Warzone with no ammo or armor yet delivered. Oh god, okay. The most chaotic mashup in Star Trek. Weapons, winner, draw, neither has any. Defense, winner, Enterprise B. Even half built, is actually made of metal.
Yes.
Speed, Enterprise B. Even if it's just an impulse. Sensors B. Sensors, Enterprise B. Even with one working screen. Crew training, depends. Sulu's daughter's on the B, but so is Harriman. Oh,
that's rough.
that's a dick. Vibe. Solar Sailor, come on, it's made of steel, sails and faith. Likelihood of exploding on accident, Enterprise B, lol. What are these answers? Verdict, Enterprise B wins! Barely, awkwardly, and maybe with a dent in the nacelle. Even in a bare bones pre-configured state, the Enterprise B is still a real starship with an engine, a hull, some computer systems, and enough mass to accidentally obliterate a Solar Sailor if it drifts too close. The Solar Sailor is one of Trek's most romantic ships, but it's not a combat vessel in any way. If you made them fight, the Solar Sailor wouldn't even know a fight was happening before it was vaporized or bumped into. But, in a race of philosophy and spirit, the Bajoran Solar Sailor wins.
Ooh.
It's got to warp on faith and science working in harmony. It represents discovery, persistence, and cultural pride. The Enterprise B mostly represents poor planning and a convenient excuse to get Kirk back into danger.
Yes.
Woo!
ChatGPT.
All right. Wow. Next.
Next up, we got the Angry Pirate again with the Romulan Warbird versus the Enterprise E.
Real bout.
Well, this is a generational thing, kind of, because the Sovereign is the next iteration of Starfleet technology versus the previous version of Romulan technology. So, I'm just saying, it would seem that this would be a pretty good matchup. Because the Galaxy class is on par to fight one of these, so the Sovereign, of course, would be a little bit better in a few different regards. Yeah. This is a tougher fight, let's be honest. Still got the cloaking device advantage for the Romulans there. And their sneaky, conniving, way of fighting. Works to their advantage. It's a tactic, and despite the era of the ship, it's still going to be an important factor. Let's put it that way. But the Enterprise E is a tough ship designed to deal with the Borg. One could assume the Sovereign would be more maneuverable than a Romulan Decure. Overall, I think they're probably pretty evenly matched. But I think the Sovereign would just win out barely. It would edge out the Decure. That's my feeling, anyway.
And again, guys, vote. Let us know what you think. Yeah, this is tricky because I feel like you got to go sort of the same year to be fair, right? So, E first contact, Decure first contact, right? So it's a little bit of those refinements. So it's not otherwise, because they're not. They are generational, but they could be at the same time as well. The Decure, we've never seen them really go at it except the Dominion one where they shoot the Dominion homeworld, and then it was just shooting a static target,
Yeah.
So they did it just like pummeling, pew 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 pew. Even in the Voyager episode, there was 3 of them, and they were weirdly sized, and right.
They're always weirdly sized.
Well, yeah. Very true. But the fact that 3 Decure could take on 2 Defiants and Akira, and they're all quite evenly matched, says something?
Yeah, the Romulans could have been holding back, though.
I would think they, or at least like weren't going all at it. Because I felt they would be, I felt there's more. I don't have evidence for this per se, but I felt they would design a Decure with weapon placements everywhere, so that it's so big, right? You couldn't just have a few. That as you flew around it, you could just like keep doing pot shots. I would think, because if it's just shooting forwards, then of course the E doesn't, or the Sovereign has a lot more things that can just keep firing in most arcs. I mean, quantums instantly make you hurt. Right, yep. Instantly, that's going to be a decider. I feel the disruptors on a Decure are more powerful than a phaser.
Probably, yeah.
So if they get a lot of quick hits, gonna do some good stuff. But as soon as torpedoes come into play, I feel like the Sovereign's gonna do well. But I also assume the Romulans would go further and harder. Like they're more willing to let their ship be damaged if they're like actually. We're not going to run, we're going to fight. Whereas the E might try and protect its flank more. Yeah.
Until he gets frustrated and just rams the ship into something.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty even match, though, these two. Even though, the Decure is technically the older breed of ship a little bit, so... It's good matchup. I think it's a very close one, and just because of the mentality that was put behind the design of the Sovereign class, I think it might edge it out just a tad bit for the win, just because it was designed to take on and handle the Borg. So, yeah. But so I'm gonna go with the Sovereign class, but barely.
Yeah, I would think the Decure would be outmatched in every normal way, but it would do a lot of damage. Not Nixon level, not Scimitar level, but, they'd be walking away like, I did not enjoy this fight, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think if you put 2 in combat, they've got real problems. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Shall I ask the old...
Yes, you should, because that's very interesting.
And do you want to read this one out?
Sure, if you want.
Yeah. This is... add your spin. Okay, generating. Sovereign class, defenses. Regenerative shield, ablative armor. Possibly? Romulan plasma torpedo is slow, but devastating if it hit. Okay, I like how we're basically on point with these. Okay, here is the to your Facebook. There you go. And let us know, who did you guys think was going to win? Tough call. Yeah, I mean the E should win, but yes, it'll win with a bit of a match.
Yes. Sovereign class for firepower would win. Quantum torpedoes and better firing arcs. Defense, Sovereign class would win. More modern shielding and hull tech. Maneuverability, Sovereign class would win. Smaller, sleeker, turns on a dime. Size and intimidation, Decure, huge, scary, visually imposing. Dun dun dun. Cloaking, Decure, major tactical advantage if used properly. Tech level, Sovereign class, 20 to 30 years newer, built post-Dominion Borg crisis. First strike potential, Decure, if cloaked and sneaky. Crew competence, toss-up. Both are elite forces of their empires. Verdict, Sovereign class wins, but barely, and only if it's ready for the cloak. The Sovereign is leaner, faster, and hits harder. Quantum torpedoes plus regenerative shielding plus superior agility equals a major advantage in a prolonged fight. Its tech is newer, more refined, and designed for real war. The Decure, though, is deadly, and if it gets the jump, if it decloaks behind or above the Sovereign and lets loose with plasma torpedo barrage, it could cripple the ship before the Sovereign even locks on. But in a full 1v1 battle, where both ships are aware of each other, the Sovereign wins with precision, speed, and firepower. Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect. All right. Matt Yarrington, $6. Enterprise C versus Rick Sternbach's Enterprise C.
Mm-hmm. No.
Based.
No, it says yes. I see what it means.
Based USS Pegasus design concept. Or just it's concept design. Like Wrath of Khan for the Lost Era. So I see what you're saying. He is. There's no real way to tell.
They'd be brothers almost, you know?
Yes. Well, if you're going with the one having the transphasic cloak, I mean, that's probably going to win. I would have loved to seen the ship come to realization in this episode instead of an Oberth, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, it would have been sad if they gutted the model just for this and not been able to repair it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, they never quite did enough to their birth to ever need to gut it, you know?
Yeah.
Luckily.
I would say if this was designed to be like the Reliant initially was for the Wrath of Khan, where it's the Avenger class, which is a little bit more powerful than the Constitution class was, then I might give the edge to the Pegasus one, even without the cloak. Yep. It's a tough call. They're pretty evenly matched. I think that's kind of the point. So,
I mean, are we assuming, quote unquote, that the Pegasus is actually the TNG era ship, and therefore definitionally it's more advanced? Than
sure.
You know, because I don't know if it's the same era, then obviously don't know the purpose of removing the neck. I mean, if anything, you know, removing the neck you lose the photon torpedo launcher, guys. Like, what are we gaining? What are we gaining from losing the neck, right? I never quite understood this one. Like, the Miranda has such a vibe, and the roll bar. This loses detail.
Might make it more maneuverable because it's more rugged. It's not as
That is
extra structural integrity field wouldn't have to be as active to have it do the same kind of maneuvers, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, stocky. That's a fair point, but I feel like you're losing more than you're gaining.
yes, I would agree.
Yeah, but I mean, if you include transphobic cloak, of course, that's you know, well, if you want to be a dick about it, you just go into the ambassador class with a photon torpedo, leave it in space, a la the gym. Phase cloak with a torpedo in there, boom, you kill them. You can be a real dick about it, right?
Yep.
My gut, I mean, my gut is ambassador, but because it has more going on. Let's see what the fucking cheap. What is it going to take from this? Okay, let's
I don't
ask.
know if it'll be interesting. Wow. Hit like, guys. We have 45 likes. I'd like to get to 50, so another 5 likes would be fantastic.
Oh man, you just dropped 2 external designs in the ring, like a Starfleet designer cage match. This is an Eiffel elite tier what if showdown between 2 ships that never got screen time they fully deserved. Okay, this is how it breaks on the Pegasus concept. I was quite specific. Design context. Sternberg originally pitched the design in the Next Generation Tech Manual. Not the Pegasus from the show. Yep. Design resembled a sleeker Miranda Nebula mashup. Likely 300 meters long. Crew 200-300. Weapons possibly light torpedo complement. Phaser banks but not a full saucer array. Weaknesses: smaller hull, has fewer weapons and weaker shields. Okay. Match breakdown, firepower, winner, ambassador class, heavy weapons and more arrays. Defense: ambassador class, stronger shields and hull. Speed and agility, Pegasus. Scout design, smaller profile, faster. You said that. Sensor recon, Pegasus, likely optimized for deep space scanning. Command capacity, ambassador class, flagship grade systems and crew. Cool factor, nerd edition, tie. Sternbat design both. He said design a civil war. Verdict, ambassador class wins. The ambassador is just a bigger, tougher, and better armed. And while Pegasus is more modern in certain systems, it's ultimately a scout or escort ship, but not built for toe-to-toe capital ship brawls. Pegasus could possibly evade, cloak if upgraded, or run, but head-to-head slugfest, the ambassador class wins with sheer bulk weapons and defense systems. That said, if Pegasus gets creative using hit-and-run tactics, nebulae, sensor jamming, it could potentially outmaneuver and cripple a wary ambassador.
Cool.
All right, I feel answered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we're in the sort of last 35 minutes, so pin a couple more. This has been interesting. I feel I've learned a lot,
Mark Lawrence, $3. I have to go silly. Oberth versus Hollow Ship.
Yeah, because it's you.
Do you want to jump on this one first?
Sure. So, where to start? Glass cannon versus factory warehouse space.
Yeah.
I would assume the hollow ship has phasers, because why the hell wouldn't it? Like little phaser emitters, like old school nose strips.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think 1 torpedo launcher just for the sake of it, just because why wouldn't you, right? There's no reason not to have 1 weapon system. It's a Dominion Warrior-ish ship, it would have something, just for self-defense, right? Oberth equally would also have some little phasers and torpedo.
Mm-hmm.
Are they about the same size?
No, I'd say the Oberth is smaller than the holoship by quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't really visualize. I know one's the size of a lake, but the other one's not exactly big, is it? I mean, in terms of volume, holoship would win because it's just floor to,
Yeah.
it's just all space. I mean, if we're assuming neither have weapons, which you could possibly argue, but you'd give both some weapons, right? Then holoship had a better armor, but then it's also not designed for anything except its function. But the Oberth is old with outdated armor. Okay, you jump in when you can, because I'm torn.
Just if the holoship can't actually change its external appearance, which I don't think it can, it's pretty simple standard ship that's not going to be good for much. However, that being said, so is the Oberth, because it is a science vessel. It's not super punchy or anything like that. Yeah, I would say that weapons-wise, they're probably pretty evenly matched. Size-wise, I think that the holoship would be a little bit, maybe twice as big as the Oberth, just for the internal volume needed to transport hundreds of colonists. Maneuverability-wise, I'd probably give it to the Oberth, just because it's actually designed to do things, whereas the holoship is just kind of designed to go from one point to another. But yeah, there's no real sense that the holoship has any kind of weapons. So
it'd have to, surely.
Does have a cloaking device though? Yeah, it does.
It does. That is true.
So I mean, you know,
A totally legal one. Right?
Sure.
It'd
Yeah.
have to be totally.
Yeah, 100%.
That's such a unique one.
Yeah, I'd give it to the Oberth, just because it's more. It's designed to be out in the field and actually deal with a few things. Whereas, yeah, the holoship seems more like it's going from point A to point B. It'll have an escort along the way if it needs it. It's not really designed to do.
Well, it's a training. It's a training cargo ship, right? It's an incredibly focused. The only thing I'd say to caveat is that if you're looking at pure design building techniques, the superior armor and hull building methods would give the holoship 180, 90-year leap, right? Because it's still being built to withstand anything and everything, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to ask ChatGPT for that, because I have no idea what it's going to say for this. What guesses it's going to make?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to read that, or shall I?
It doesn't matter. I can read it if you want.
Yeah, I'll get the next one lined up when you... now this is a nerd mashup worth of Romulan eyebrow raise. You're pitting a beloved yet fragile science ship against a full-on stealth battleship made of light and arrogance.
I think it thinks it's talking about the flea ship.
No, battleship, holoship. Baku holoship for insurrection.
Oh, okay.
Apparently the Oberth is 120 meters. Holoship thinks it's 400 meters.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. At least double the size.
Okay, with you now.
All right. Firepower, holoship. Even if we never saw it fire, it has to be better than the Oberth level. Wow. Shields and defense, holoship. Advanced metaphasic tech. Okay, good point. Maneuverability, the Oberth. Slightly. It's small and nimble. Sensors, holoship. Modern adaptive systems. Stealth, holoship, hands down. Oberth couldn't even hide behind a moon without being detected. Durability, holoship. The Oberth class is famously explodey. Wow. Intimidation factor. Neither. They're both kind of soft boys. Wow. Verdict. The holoship wins, and the Oberth probably doesn't even see it coming. The Oberth class is a dedicated science vessel that was already outdated in TNG. It has next to no battle capability. The holoship, though unarmed on screen, was capable of long-term cloaked operations, environmental simulations, and manipulating matter on a mass scale. It probably has defenses equivalent to or better than the Defiant class's stealth systems, even if it's not a frontline ship. This is basically, I'm a fragile but noble nerd ship versus I can literally turn invisible and replace your crew with holograms.
I did forget about the shields, because that is worth,
Yeah.
that's worth noting. Yeah, I mean, he read the script. We forgot about the script. Fair.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Next up is the Angry Pirates, 10 pounds. Last one, Voyager versus Borg Cube. Ooh. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Gee.
Now, these are the real questions you've been asking people for years.
I would say Voyager would hands down destroy a Borg cube, or at least assimilate it, digitize it.
Sure.
A fleet of Borg cubes might be a problem, but a single Borg cube versus Voyager, I don't think there's much of a contest, honestly. But yeah, I think it would get digitized and put into Voyager's memory banks. I don't think that there's anything that they could adapt to prevent it from happening. Because, I mean, one blast from Voyager will take out Katinga, and it's just basically digitizing it. So, cool.
Man, this is tricky, because unlike everything else, Voyager has a hard out when it comes to tech. There is no next-gen Voyager. There's just the one we saw. Borg Cube, I mean, I think they don't change that much. Fine. But Voyager, we only ever saw it go against TMP-level tech. And the Borg Cube is so much more advanced than TMP-level tech, it's not even funny.
Mm-hmm.
You can take an Enterprise D like it's nothing. Well, relatively quickly. So I would assume that the Borg Cube could take it. Like, I just watched the Red Letter Media re-review of TMP. You sort of forget that the Enterprise takes one Voyager hit. So the Enterprise, already there's enough shield power, and then Refit take one hit. And Voyager's not playing, right? It's doing the thing. So the Borg Cube should be able to take multiple hits. I assume Voyager could pump up the power, but first hit, second hit. You know what I mean? And even if it gets through and starts digitizing, it's not fast. So the Borg Cube could probably turn and start firing into the... You know what I mean? Like you got 70% of its cube to be fine. Does Voyager even have shields? At least it would have to. That's kind of impossible.
I think that's the cloud that's around it, which dissipates as it gets closer to Earth. I think that's kind of acts as shielding, because you don't really get near the ship. You just get...
Yeah, because the Enterprise flies so close to it that it... Because it's got these wings, you can see it, right? And it goes through them, so it'd be through a shield bubble. It could be on the hull shielding, that's fine. But I mean, it had to have some sort of shields. It wouldn't be able to fly in space otherwise. But I would assume Voyager could take out one Borg cube. But as soon as any other Borg ship comes in with knowledge of the Voyager, it would lose instantly. Like if adaptation is at play, once you've learned one lesson, you're gonna win. But if it was a ship versus cube, if the I don't remember what episode it was. But the cube just spinning and firing, like that thing's gonna wreck Voyager. Just all constant firing. That's an interesting mashup. That's a really interesting, just visual.
I think personally, I would go with Voyager myself for the win.
What do you guys think, Voyager or Borg Cube? I felt, if you went for the TNG Borg Cube Voyager, but as soon as you go tactical Borg Cube, it would win no problem. I felt the armor could take a bolt really easily as well. What do you think?
Um, maybe. I don't know how much more. Well,
because that's a defensive cube, right? The tactical
yeah,
Borg cube.
yeah. Borg fusion cube. There we go. Then we got something.
We've got a party.
But I think tactical cube might. I'd probably put my money on that as opposed to a regular cube. Personally.
And not to add another layer, but if you added the first contact cube with a sphere, so the cube goes, sphere joins the play, then the Borg as a faction win, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
That was a really good little mashup. Nice one. Good thoughts, guys.
Matthew Lebner, member for 24 months at the rank of Admiral.
Thank you so much.
Love the new format and all the creative ways to engage while we wait for new Trek episodes. Wishing everyone a happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Same to you. All right, the Angry Pirate, 10 pounds. Last one. My bank thinks I'm being held at gunpoint. Cisco, Mark 1 Defiant. Farpoint, Big D.
So launch configuration of both.
Interesting. I'd give it to the Defiant. The Galaxy class it's made for peace. It's not made for war. And yeah, I think the Defiant, especially with the advantage of the cloak coming in, taking the Enterprise a little bit by surprise. Yeah. Could run circles around the Enterprise, fire off a bunch of pulse phasers, quantum torpedoes, boom. The Enterprise is just standing there going, what the fuck? And it's dead. The quantums are a big game changer, honestly. So, plus, if it's the Mark 1, you got a Romulan on board, so they'll be able to help take out the Enterprise, no problem. With their Romulan-esque.
Yeah, I think we've said this before, but the raw firepower of a Galaxy class phaser is a lot. But then that's sustained fire, right? Like a pulse phaser, bam, bam, bam. The amount of power per second is more, but bam, 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 bam versus one zzz, like the build of damage. Every second doing more and more damage, they can sustain it for longer. So it's if the Defiant is constantly getting hit by the phaser in every angle and weakening shields, it's going to do a lot of damage because a battleship versus a attack ship really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, quantum as soon as you get into it would be real mean. Would we say? Actually, that's a good question. I guess you could put this in for later for a different one. If the Defiant had a really hard time against the Lakota, like properly hard time, with quantums, how would how comparable is Lakota versus the Galaxy class?
Ooh.
Because we saw it as a distinct fight, and they were not winning; they were holding their own.
Mm-hmm. They also hold it back though, because it's a Federation ship.
But Lakota might have been as well. At least some.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. Yeah, the Galaxy class has its size and newness to it. That it was the most advanced, most impressive ship that they had. So it's got to be better than the Lakota, which was just the old, Excelsior class style design, right? So, oh my goodness, it's another good matchup, honestly, because the size of the Galaxy class is an advantage to a certain degree. The nimbleness and smallness of the Defiant is also an advantage in its court. It's Cisco versus Picard, and we know that Cisco hates Picard, so I don't know. The vengeance factor of Cisco might win out, and I think the Defiant would probably still own it.
Although he wasn't quite as kick-butty in season 3, right? He made the Defiant as a I don't want to use it ship, not as a fire everything. Yeah, I think Defiant. I think the Galaxy has a chance of winning with a lot of good skill, but the Defiant has a lot easier chance of winning early on in the battle, and therefore just shoot, do some damage. Yeah. At the very least, the D should have better shields on Lakota. At the very least, right, that it would win on, I would think.
Yes. Yeah.
But weapons, I could see Lakota be more advanced because it came out later. But I think Defiant would win, but both would get brutalized in this fight. And I mean, how many times in TV do we see, something happen that causes a feedback pulse, which causes damage to something and triggers something else? So if either ship had like an extra bit of sub damage, right, then it's over. We're assuming that the ship survived the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, I forgot, because I felt this would be an interesting one. Do you want me to see what the Voyager versus Borg Cube result was for the internet?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Breakdown of God Battle.
God Battle.
Mm-hmm. Winner, firepower, Voyager. It casually vaporizes Starship's 11 trying. Defenses, Voyager. Energy cloud, scale, and unknown metaphysics. Intelligence, Voyager. AI, organic fusion. Better than Borg, hive logic. Adaption, Borg. Fair enough. Size, Voyager. It's like a city versus a continent.
Mm-hmm. This was all the things I was saying.
Creepy factor, tie. Green laser zombies versus AI godchild. Speed, Voyager possibly beyond warp altogether. Chance of going full cosmic horror, Voyager. Final verdict, Voyager wins with terrifying ease. The Borg cube, advanced as it is, would try to analyze, adapt, and assimilate Voyager, and fail. Voyager would likely digitize the cube, disassembling its particles or reformat it into a data structure without blinking. Borg weapons are probably ineffective. The cloud alone is light hours wide and seems to be a projected reality field, not just energy shielding. Voyager's power operates at a godlike level of abstraction, close to a Q, the prophets, Organians, than a normal machine race.
Yep.
Shit.
That's what I said. I was right.
Because I was picturing the ship versus ship, not the ship plus the field. Just saying. Just saying. Damn. Okay, so we've got one more, but I'll do this one as well for the AI because we've got 20 minutes left. Doing good. We're one more round would be great to get us to a great goal. You guys done really fun. Okay, USS Defiant. Launch. I'll send you this one to read. Version versus Galaxy. Okay.
All right.
Oh, it looks like a pretty... Oh, they've through a lot of factors. Okay, with you... There you are. Now, all right.
All right. Firepower per second. The Defiant. Pulse phasers and quantums. And insane burst damage. Sustained firepower. Galaxy class. More phasers, more torpedoes. Longer fight stamina. Defensive capabilities of the Galaxy. Tougher shields at launch. More redundancy. Armor, Defiant. Blade of armor gives strong hull resistance. Maneuverability, Defiant. By a mile, flies like a fighter. Tech readiness, Galaxy class. Defiant had major launch bugs, sensors and range. Major launch bugs. Sensors and range, Galaxy class. Long range, deep space sensors. Crew coordination, Galaxy at launch. Larger crew equals more backup systems. Kill shot potential, Defiant. If it gets in close and unloads its payload. Verdict. It depends on the battlefield and conditions, but slight edge to the Galaxy class. If it's a straight-up slugfest in open space, the Galaxy class can win by absorbing damage and returning a wide area barrage. Even at launch, its fire control grid and redundancy make it more durable in drawn-out combat. But if it's a close quarters or the Defiant gets the drop, it can rip the Galaxy apart faster than you'd think. The pulse phasers and quantum torpedoes are brutal, and the Defiant's low profile and speed make it very hard to track. If the Defiant shields hold, even for a few minutes, it can disable the saucer, cripple the drive section, or knock out key systems before the Galaxy can leverage its size. So yeah, pretty close overall.
Makes sense. They are very different, yet very top of their range ships. Okay, very nice. Who is next?
Matthew Lebner, $5. Enterprise refit against Kelvin Enterprise.
Stuart has not a single dog in this race. He has no bias whatsoever. None.
Well, this is David versus Goliath because one of them's small and one of them's big.
Do you want to put them to scale just to really highlight on this graph?
I mean, you could if you wanted. Oops. Didn't mean to do that.
Don't know you could do that, to be honest.
Oh, there you go. Still probably too small. Yeah. So the Kelvin Enterprise would probably win because it's got a whole bunch of magical, like, fairy dust to warp ratio things and, you know, pulsy phasers and just a lot bigger. I mean, it can take a lot more of a pounding. Speaking of, yeah, I just recently, not that long ago, watched Star Trek Into Darkness again, as I told you. And the amount of damage that ship takes and the ridiculousness of what it goes through is just incredibly fucking stupid. There's no way it would survive that movie. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, the Kelvin Enterprise is of course going to win because it's God Tech and it's JJ Tech, and lens flares will blind everybody and all the sensors on the refit. So, yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, you know, it's fair to say that brewery power has come a long way since the 20th century, and now to be fueled by breweries and metal piping, it just, you know, the speed at which the crew can drink the beer is the speed at which they can press fire, and they're all having a great time, right? And to quote Near, of course, fire everything. I always said that this live. Yeah, I mean, what this thing can do is insane. That end sequence, I've only seen 09 once because it's not worth seeing twice, all the way through. I've seen clips, of course. Never watched it all the way through. Not worth it. But I remember that end bit, they fire lots and quickly. And it's way more than Refit could fire.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do some, right? Pulse phasers are quite powerful. But yeah, the firepower feels pretty distinct. Just how much more metally it looks.
Yeah. Yeah, so hands down, winner is the JJ Prize. 1,000%. In every regard. It's just fucking spectacular.
I mean, the nacelle is going to be bigger than the secondary hull. Every window is the size of a bloody house, so the visibility is great. I mean, the bridge window, right? You can see your opponent. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even being satirical. It's clearly more powerful, how it's shown in the film. Like, it's more maneuverable, it's more weapons, it's got more fighters. Like, it's got more going on. All of that is going to equate, in the logic of the universe, of course, the Klingon loss of... the Klingons... losing to the Kelvin jumpstart everyone to build better tech. That was a thing. So it will be more advanced, even though it's older. Unfortunately, yeah, the JoJo Prize would probably win, and it's annoying. They just made it fancy and powerful and ignored the logic of, you know. I did, of course, ask ChatGPT because I want to be annoyed.
Oh, wow.
And yes, length 725 meters. Crew 1,100.
Wow. That's more than the Enterprise D crew, which is crew complement of 1,014.
I mean, look, when you have a giant internal saucer which is empty with a giant open space, you need to pack it with people to look busy, right? Where's 1,000 people living on? I guess it's bigger, but what's that? Defenses, you like this. Reinforced shields and hull plating and technobabble level durability.
Does it say that?
Yep. Survives near destruction multiple times. Even better. Speed. Implication of warp 9+, possibly beyond. Oh, yeah. Other notes. Overbuilt, overpowered. A Battlestar Enterprise. Right. Key points, one by one. Firepower. Kelvin Enterprise. Advanced phaser turrets and torpedoes. More DPS. Shielding. Kelvin Enterprise. Tougher against kinetic and energy threats. Maneuverability. TMP Refit. Sleeker and smaller, more maneuverable. Technology. Raw. Kelvin. More advanced due to timeline divergence. Aesthetic coolness. TMP Refit. Sorry, it's gorgeous. Durability. Yes. Kelvin. That thing takes a beating and keeps flying. Crew effectiveness. Tie. Huh?
Takes a fucking and keeps on trucking.
Trucker stew. Crew effectiveness. Tie. They're both Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Size. Kelvin Enterprise. It towers over the Refit. Chance to win a bar fight. Kelvin, 100%. Verdict. Kelvin wins. But it's like using a sledgehammer to swat a fly. The TMP Refit is a refined, balanced ship. A true flagship. But in raw specs, firepower and scale, the Kelvin Enterprise is a generational monster. It's like comparing a Cold War battleship to a 25th century destroyer. In a straight up fight, the TMP Enterprise will get absolutely overwhelmed. Yep.
Sad.
Yeah. Sorry. We
called it. We said that's what it would be, the winner. I'm sorry, but it's just the truth.
So much rip, right? So much rip.
Yeah.
All right, so I have one more bonus one just got in the wire. Thank you very much, you crazy, crazy person.
Oh, the Angry Pirate, 10 pounds. Last one. Voyager versus Enterprise C.
Not the strongest of ship, the old Enterprise C.
No. It's got a classic beauty to it, but it doesn't have anything super phenomenal. And then when it comes to Voyager versus that, it's going to be Voyager easily. Super much more advanced. Better, newer systems. Smaller, more maneuverable, tougher. Yeah. It's not much of a contest, honestly. As sad as that is.
And just the elegance factor alone. That'd be a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a funny old one because so in Temporal Anomaly, my first big Trek fan film, the one of the characters has an Intrepid class and it's got functional weapons and shields, and that one ship single-handedly does a lot of stuff to other Federation ships, because at the time, this is 2013, I realised what Voyager really was. It's not what some people think of it as, a science ship huzzah. It's a Galaxy class in a more maneuverable, smaller package.
Mm-hmm.
It's just as tactically able as a Galaxy class, if not more. What it doesn't have is power output, but it's got more advanced for the size. Like, the phasers are more advanced and more powerful. The torpedoes are more advanced, more powerful. The shields are more advanced, more powerful. Not power output, but technical. Binaural, it can think faster. Maneuverability, it's absolute night and day. like all these things are properly next level. Like, it had to be to last, all Voyager. But this thing is the series. But this thing is a very tactically able ship, because this was designed when they were skewing towards we want tactical and science. So this thing's both. This thing, right? This thing is very, very capable. This thing blows most things the air out of the water, and even like compared to the Defiant, this thing has really good shields and phasers and tracking, whatever. Like this, like people underestimate how powerful Voyager is because they think science ship. It's like, yeah, but with all of the bells and whistles to the max, and small maneuverable, right?
Yeah. Plus an extra warp core.
Yeah.
Which everybody forgets about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to be a dick about it, one tricobalt torpedo which would just annihilate the sea, and as soon as it hits, gone. It's going to nuke it. Because that thing would probably kill Enterprise D? At least.
How many tricobalt torpedoes did they have? Just one?
Yep. Every Intrepid gets one.
Did they ever use it?
Yeah, that's what they killed the Caretaker with.
Oh.
That's there to invent a new weapon to destroy the Caretaker. Okay. And then they had one. That's the gimmick. It's like, wow, there's one torpedo we have. That's the most powerful nuke ever. How would you have? Just used it. Can't build it. No, you can't build it anymore. It's like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, this thing is a... Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the Intrepid's a real powerful ship.
It is, yeah. It easily wins over the Ambassador class.
Like, I would argue, like, even 3 Ambassadors would have a very difficult time. Like, that level of difference. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I would say so. Now, 3 Galaxy classes, then they have a little bit of a, tougher time. But
I think 2 Galaxies could take out an Intrepid just because of constant fire. But, yeah, 1-on-1, I would vote Intrepid over Galaxy, personally. Maneuverability helps, right? Now, Defiant versus Intrepid, that's a whole different... That's captain-based, right? That's, like, strategy.
I was just thinking, yeah.
Maybe next time, guys. 'Cause I think that means we're at the end. Stuart, do you want to read out the poll results? We're very interesting. Thank you for...
Yes, 47 votes. Are you enjoying this new format? Yes, wins with 68%. 30% say middle, we will see. And only 2% say no.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice. And we have got...
This is fun. I like this idea.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just free flow, right? But you guys have great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlimited ships, kind of. But we have got ideas for doing an actual, like, visual versus...
we do, yeah.
Just need a bit of R&D, and it'll be sort of like at the whim of how the programmers have decided how powerful the ships are. Which is fine, just, Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah, this was fun.
We'll see you this weekend when you watch our content. Because you will watch our content.
You will.
And of course, next week we'll be back for lives and all the typical things. So,
with things and bobs. So have a think. Yeah. You'll see us Saturday. We'll see you next week. I'm going to London tomorrow for a concert.
Cool. Well, enjoy.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Sir. All right. So until then, he's